Of my life, don't walk away. Hey, hey. Hi, everybody. Hold on, where's my voice? Hi, everybody. I'm sitting in. It's a fireside campfireside. I've had a fire all day because it's been cold, and it's amazing. It really affects your voice when you breathe smoke. I just had a big swig of my of my dark roast coffee, which kind of like brought up this thought where like people think that espresso has more caffeine in it than say like a blonde roast. So let's say you go to Starbucks, you're like, I'll take a like a blonde roast coffee. That has probably 3 to 4 times more caffeine than espresso. Espresso is more bitter because it's cooked longer, but they also cook out the caffeine. Anyway, I had some what would be not that much caffeine, but just a very, 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 very bitter. Why do I like that? It's the sugar. It's the sugar. A spoonful of sugar makes the espresso go down. Espresso go down. Fuck this fucking smoke, man. And then I wonder why I have a hard time singing. It's because every day I have a fire. I gotta figure that one out.
You'll have to wear your mask out here.
Yeah, but you can't wear a mask and, oh my god, I'm enjoying the fire as you're fucking like all fucking like loaded up, like you're fucking fighting like like a brush fire, you know? Or you sound like Bane. Batman. Hello, Batman. And then Batman says, hello, Bane. It's like, they almost had the same voice, but Tom Hardy's. Actually, Tom Hardy had a better voice. Chris Bale, amazing actor. Though I just feel that it was like it was Batman, but with a little bit of a lisp. But now, listen, never in a million years when I was acting would I take on a role as an American to play somebody with an English accent. So yeah, bravo to all the actors, and there's a lot of them. Well, actually, Tom Hardy, Christian Bale, my friend Greg. Oh god damn it! Who I did that MTV show with?
Yeah, that played James.
Sulkin. No, with Greg, it was interesting. So we were on a show together called oh fuck, is that MTV? What was it called? It was a double entendre name.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Damn, I can't remember.
Oh shit. Anyway, look up Nicholas Brendon and Greg Sulkin. I played his teacher, but so on the TV show, and I did a fair amount to where like I got to know Greg really well, and he had just like a what's up, dude? Like an English accent, and then we were out and about outside of set, like shooting was done. Now, I cannot convey to you how almost fucked up it is to where like in between takes, Greg was still talking with an English accent, so it's kind of like, all right, cool. So then when we were out and shooting was done, all of a sudden he's talking like this. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh, okay. Is that your Halloween costume? Like in July? He's like, no, man, I'm like, what the fuck? And it's like, there's kind of like a little bit, not anger, but embarrassment mixed with a little bit of, I got duped. And then also just a lot of being 100% impressed, and we talked. He's like, yeah, I just, when I'm acting, especially when you're a serious regular, he's like, I just stay in the American even when I'm talking. I mean, and it was great. Yeah, but he could have given me, we were close enough. He could have given me a fucking heads up where he was from. I mean, I know that he was dating like fucking what's her face, some model and shit, but I never talked to her. But I was completely taken aback by that. And
was faking it.
Faking it was the name, which is what he did with his accent.
Apropos.
So I'm here. It's an early fireside chat. I'm here to answer questions. And I mean, like, whatever you guys want, like anything, I'll answer anything really. Trying to think. Here's that. This is gonna suck again, but there's sugar. and then especially at the bottom, because that's where the sugar, like really fucking. It's like when you're a kid, like, and I would have like what Cheerios, like my mom should have been in the game. You know, it's like if we were having less sugar when it was a sugar cereal. So if it was like Frosted Flakes or Trix, we're not adding fucking sugar to that. But you give me Rice Krispies or fucking Cheerios, spoonfuls of it, to where it's like, you know, the milk's sweet, but those last bites when all the cereal's gone and it's just milk and sugar, that's all we're having, and that's how we're going to fucking school, man. And they say your kids are a little hyperactive. It's like, that's it. Could be our diet. So one thing to talk about first. Are there any questions?
Lots of hellos. A few people mentioning the Buffy pilot.
Okay, I want to talk about that. Okay, so, and I don't know how long this is going to last, because there's a lot to say about it. From day one of hearing the news, there was a betrayal that I felt a little bit, only because Joss was not involved. I could have given two fucks if I was involved in it. But the fact that Joss wasn't, it really got under my crawl. And how do you say it? Without being like you know, like patting myself on the back or self-aggrandizing or anything like that. I've been consistent with, and the words that I've said have been almost litigation-able, where I had said that if Joss isn't involved, then the writers on that project are in an act of plagiarism. And so let me first start by saying to Ryan, Kira Armstrong, you seem awesome, you know, and it's show business, and don't allow what happened to like hold you back at all as it pertains to this. I've never met you, I don't know you, but I did see this, you know, this video with Sarah, who for some reason couldn't be in the same room with you, but on a computer thing said, you know, how do you feel like carrying the torch? You know, and how excited that she was. And it's sad that it had to be filmed. It's sad that life can't just happen without it being filmed for social media, because it was, you know, for Ryan, it was the first that she was hearing of it. I'm sure she worked her ass off to get that part. But at the end of the day, it was just like some like publicity fucking bullshit thing. And I don't think that's fair. And especially coming into a show like Buffy, which of course has a cult following, but it's almost religious in a way, you know? And I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 times more. Without Joss Whedon involved, you're going to have problems. And, you know, this is now the second failed attempt. And I do earnestly believe that Buffy needs to be told more. One of the great things there are two great things about my catastrophic spinal cord injury. One, I have a handicap placard, so I can park anywhere. Two, I had to retire from acting, so it's like I don't have to give like politically correct like answers. Like I would watch some of my castmates, and as they're talking about, you know, the show, and it's just like I don't have to kiss ass. I'm not a dick, but I'm going to speak the truth. And the truth is that, you know, Joss has been punished enough for things that like countless millions of people have done. If there was, I mean, like anything, murder, okay, fine. I'll still love him and I'll visit him in prison. Rape, you know, we'll talk about it, you know. But it's just, I was hurt that Joss was not involved and not a part of it. I was hurt that Sarah, I guess, had become the new Joss. And also I found that somewhat comical.
And I hope this time Ryan found out that it wasn't going forward from a person and not from the media.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's again, it's you know, it's show business, and they don't really. There's not. I got lucky just because like I was acting for 2 months, and then I booked Buffy, and with the core four, you know, me, Tony, Ali, and Sarah, and then Joss being the core five, you know, it was like he was the fifth Beatle, but the first Beatle, you know. It was such a wonderful experience to have it grow to be this thing that it became. And to like to sully it. Sorry, that's time for the coffee. I've had so many people like, you know, come up to me, like, I mean, thousands, so many fucking people, and just say how the show has helped them through like the worst time of their life, bad times. It just got them through, you know, which means that the show is more than just dollars and cents, if that makes sense. It's something that needs to be honored, you know, and I don't know how you do that without jobs. And like, I'm not. Kelly, my twin brother, he works art department. He was actually was supposed to work on Buffy, and then it kind of fell through. And I'm by no means excited that it's not moving forward, just because these are people now, you know, that, you know, without jobs and have to, you know look for jobs. And with someone like Ryan, it's just like, fuck, man, because it's hard to not. There's a Harvard professor like that, like the head of psychology. He gave a TED Talks, and the topic was, can you obtain happiness? And at the end, he talked for 40 minutes, and then at the end was the answer that he gave, and it was like, yes, if you can find a way to live your life with zero to no expectations, it is possible, and it's true. Not negative expectations, but just like no expectations, to where like anything that comes, it's like, oh my God, it's a gift. I can't imagine, and again, I've never met Ryan, but, you know, something like that, and then the way that it was handled in terms of press and media, and I saw Sarah, you know, fucking telling Ryan that she booked it through fucking TikTok. Fuck off. Like, have it be a moment. It's so hard not to have expectations, and, you know, and so I kind of feel, and just really, I just. She seems really awesome, and I only wish like the best for her. Obviously, I have my feelings about the show are very I'm very protective of the show, and guarded. And I had said from day one, and again, I was consistent, that if people were like, "Are you going to be on it?" and yeah, first of all, I was never asked, and any actor that was on the original who, when they were asked that question, and they were kind of like, hey man, well, I'm not allowed to talk about it, they weren't fucking asked either. And that's a part of the bullshit that I hate, where it's just like, it's just, but, you know, and they don't want to say, at least my truth is my truth. I don't know what anyone else's truth is, but if anyone believes that you can reboot, retool, continuation Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was Joss's first fucking baby, and trust me, I wrote the comics with Joss, season 10, and so, which was an honor, because, you know, like, Joss definitely has a hierarchy, and you know, like, you know, writers are one, and then actors are two, and he, you know, thought I was a good writer. So when we were coming up with season 10, you know, comics, I gotta, because as an actor, you know, if we truly wanted to, I could have gone into, like, you know, the writing room and stuff, but we were so busy doing our shit. But so now I'm a writer, so now I'm in the writing room, and I'm watching Joss and just how much he just cares. It's about the integrity of Buffy. It's more than just a show, and it's more than just a grab. It's, you know, it's Hulu. Oh, fuck. I can't say that I'm happy. I can say that really without Joss, we're over 2 now. and that just has to stop. And I've been on my soapbox for a long time because I know Joss well. We eat meals together, and to see what he's gone through, it's you know, again, Hollywood's a fucking bitch, but it's like beyond measure not fair. And you know, and this isn't a Me Too thing, and I think there are some corrections that were made there which should have been made, and then I think that it crossed the line, and so that's where I'm at with that. And when people ask me, "Are you going to be on it?" I was honest enough to say, "Well, I haven't been asked, and it wouldn't matter just because I wouldn't do anything unless Joss was involved." And Joss Whedon is the only person that would have me come out of retirement to act. So that's where I'm at, and I apologize if I've pissed anybody off. If I did, go talk to your therapist because there's something that I said that was wrong, or even like on the cusp of like misunderstanding. I've been very consistent. You know, this is Joss's baby, and for people to usurp that from him, I call them plagiarists. You know, because I was very sad and very confused. And now it's like I'm not. It's not like I'm happy, but it makes sense to me. You know, and I haven't read or seen the pilot, but I heard that they were going to try and tweak it, but it just it wasn't tweakable. So I have an idea. Why doesn't somebody pick up the goddamn fucking phone and call Joss? And if he says no, fuck off, then that's cool. If he says okay, yeah, then cool. Either way, cool, because it's like 0 to no expectations. Everything's a win, and so that's where I stand. Has anyone seen my lighter? Christ! Fuck, man, are you kidding me?
Not in the pockets, huh?
Well, I mean, I got so many pockets. Hold on, maybe there. You found it. So, you know, and I'm not gonna judge like any of my old castmates, but there was, outside of Sarah, I could pretty much 100% confirm that not one person was asked to do it, which again, I think it's a mistake. I'm not even saying it should be me. I'm just saying that in order to kind of like meld new fans with the fans that have been so lovely and so supportive and are still growing after, Jesus Christ, a while, I just felt that it wasn't doing the show justice. And there is a right way to do it, and hopefully soon to mid-soon, between now and like 3 to 5 years, that way can be found, because I do believe that it, just the way that it ended wasn't great, because you know, Sarah kind of, Sarah worked really hard, but she also kind of fucked the show in the sense of she told everybody way too late in the season that this was going to be her last year. So Joss was not prepared for that. You know, Joss, you have an arc every season, and so now Joss had to completely just like say, okay, it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair to the crew. It wasn't fair to anybody, and it wasn't fair to the show. And so I believe that there are more amazing lessons and stories to tell. If that happens, it'll happen, and it'll be right. If it doesn't happen, we have the original, which is still pretty fucking good, man. You know, it's like, but yeah, and the cool thing about it is like I wrote a treatment for the reboot, and I had lunch with Joss and I pitched it to him. He's like, and this was after the first one. I felt, he's like, wow, that's so much better than the script that I got. And it was basically, you know, I was the watcher and stuff. It was very dark, and Willow was the big bad because Buffy died in battle, and that she lost her mind. But you know, I've got a limp now, so it's like that works really well with the way that my character Xander was being portrayed, and I wrote that before I even had my I will always say catastrophic spinal cord injury, because it can't
life changing.
I can't say spinal cord injury. It was a catastrophic one. So anyway, that's where I stand there, and I think I said that somewhat eloquently without stepping on anyone's toes, and being as kind as I possibly can and as honest as I possibly can. Okay, questions.
Jerry Lynn Maculito said, I didn't understand why they would want to do another Buffy when this one was so perfect.
Money. You know, I mean, and then what we're finding out is that I didn't understand why they would want to do another one without Joss. You know, at least in the one before, Joss wasn't writing the script, but he was an EP on it, you know, because he was in the middle of, I mean, I know that he was doing shit. He was writing 4 movies. So it was, you know, I wish that you guys could have been in there with me in the writer's room when we were writing season 10 of the comics, just to see how much he cares, you know. Yeah, and so, yeah, I fuck that. I take that back. I'm happy that this thing is not going. There's a vindication, because I love the man, and I know how much he cares about that character. I mean, just really cares about that character. It was really, I think, probably because he was a script doctor, you know, and then became like the biggest like script doctor in Hollywood. I remember when we were me, Sarah, Tony, Riff Regan, who was the first Willow, were at Joss's house, kind of rehearsing, you know, the shoot, and then Joss had to stop because Steven Spielberg called because he needed some help with Twister. I mean, so he was like the preeminent script doctor in Hollywood. But in terms of characters, it was his first child, you know, like, which then put him on the map, and with the help of his now ex-wife Kai. But I'm happy. I'm happy that because Joss doesn't need any more pain. He doesn't. He, you know, he's had enough. Oh, but he's richer than, like, fuck that shit, man. You can have like $500 million and be abused emotionally. Do you think you give a fuck about that money? We're souls, man. And so that's my take on that. Fuck, I'm getting pissed now. Okay, next.
Where'd it go? Andrea Lopez says, I can tell the character development and everything in the show is brilliant. Peter D. Hazel says, love Buffy. The show got me through teenage angst, grief, peer pressure, all sorts of depression. I don't know where I'd be without the show. Anyway, It's good to see you, Xander.
Yeah, it was more than just a money grab. It meant a lot to a lot of people, you know, and I can't tell you how honored, because again, I've heard countless times just how much the show has meant to people, you know, and I was honored to be a part of that, and to be a part of anyone's healing process that was going through a hard time in that moment, because Lord knows I, in my past, have gone through hard times, which for some reason people don't let me forget about. But fuck them, that's their problem now. They're living in that bullshit. I've decided to move forward, but I just, like, some things are just too important, and so it's like, I mean, it's just, yeah. I just want Ryan to be good, you know, because, you know, the way that the Ryan, Kira Armstrong, because it's the way that it was presented was, because when I found out that I had Xander, which was Joss, I was the last character that was cast. It was private. It was a phone call, and it was private. It wasn't, you know, now, mind you, this is before social media, but I can see myself saying I wouldn't want social media to be a part of that, you know, Sarah doing the, how would you, I'm gonna pass on the torch. It's like, fuck off, man. And of course she's excited. It's just, it's, you know, it's unfair, and Yeah. It's funny because sometimes I think I don't have the words and I think I'm saying the words. Like, I think I'm being articulate. I think I'm being not eloquent in the words that I'm using, because you don't need a dictionary to look them up. But eloquent, but in the way that I'm phrasing things, so as not to put anybody down, but just to speak to the honor of the show, and to something that it's like, if I'm not in it, blah, blah. No, something that, of course, when we were shooting, we had no idea, especially like the first, I'd say 2 seasons. I would say probably half of season 2, like we knew that we had a hit, but even then, what's a hit? Like, like Beverly Hills is a hit, like 90210. But the impact that Buffy has vis-a-vis Beverly Hills 90210 is it's not even comparable. I mean, just to look at, there have been, I mean, with fan fiction, like I do, I'm like doing a supporter thing on Facebook. It's like $9.99, and I read fan fiction, and there has been hands down more fan fiction written about Buffy than any other show in the history of television, and that's saying something. So you have to honor that, and I'm actually kind of proud of Hulu for understanding that, because they did put money into it. I'm an actor. I've been an actor. I'm not happy for the the people who I'm sure had the expectations of, and then because I think this was today that it came out.
Yeah.
So this is a hard day for some people. Like a really hard day, because there was a lot. I'm sure there was a lot of chatter. There was a lot of expectations that were put upon them. So then it's hard for them not to have that. And if I prayed, I would pray for them, but I'll just think like really like good thoughts and positive thoughts, because it's not, the way that it was done wasn't fair. It wasn't thought out. And if we're gonna do this, it's got to be thought out, properly. I think that a lot of fans would have watched it just to kind of see if it was going to be a car wreck, or if it was going to be something that was going to be, obviously it was going to be completely different, but is it different in a way of, okay, it's called Buffy, but it's a different show. But so, okay.
Elizabeth Matson says, every time they try and do a reboot, it never touches in the same way. Even if it's not a reboot exactly, Buffy deserves to be honored and kept true.
There should be a reboot of any show.
Buffy.
Buffy. Well, I mean, there's only been 2 attempts, and it's like right now, just like knowing how unfairly Hollywood has treated Jaws. Jaws could write the pilot, and that's what I wish for, because watching him again in the writer's room and writing the comics, he has a love, he's got a pathos, he's got an ethos, he's got an id, he's got an ego, he's got everything that you would need. And now, as he has gone through his like fucking trials and tribulations and his turmoils, and as he's gotten help for those, he only has a greater understanding of the human condition. And in terms of writing, you have to kind of be a psychologist as well, and especially with yourself when you get help for things that for problematic behavior. The first step is admitting that you have a problem, and then when you see that through, one of the last things I said, Josh, I said, when you start writing again, I said, just think about the shit that you're gonna write, because before, when he was writing, it was about escapism, and now it's like he can still do escapism, but he can also he can own where he's at, and I look forward to the day where I'm seeing, I'm reading, I'm acting in a new Joss Whedon script, and I can't wait for that vindication.
Saul Nathaniel McCartney says, we live in a completely different universe now from the one that the original series took place in.
Of course, but we're still fucking human beings. I mean, just because there's social media, like, to me, social media, the people that if you go on Twitter, the people that talk shit, you know, those, whatever. But it hasn't. We still have souls. I mean, we still. It's different, but it's very much the same. You know. Yeah, I'm sure they thought that about Alexander Graham Bell as a telephone. Have you heard about the motorized car vehicle, or have you heard about talkies? You know, I mean, from 1900 to 2000, that was the biggest growth ever. You know, and with social media, it's like, it's if you can't see it for what it is, which is a lie. I mean, like, I watch TikTok. I like to watch like people popping videos, and I'm not ashamed to say that. But it's a lie. There are just, and now with AI stuff, and be careful. And you can, like, you're not dumb. Like, you can tell when something is AI. And I mean, kudos to those people that decided to do that, because it's close, but it's not. At the end of the day, it's like we're gonna always kind of come back to who we are as human beings. It's like that movie, The Purge, whatever the fuck it's called. One day out of the year, you're gonna kill whoever. What? Huh? And then it's just fucking just slaughter and mayhem. I gotta tell you, if I'm ordering a pizza and I'm gonna watch fucking reruns of Will and Grace, and I never watched Will and Grace, that will be my purge. That'll be my penance. It's to me, it's so funny where it's like, I've got an idea for a script. Okay, cool. What if one day out of the year you could kill anybody with no repercussions, except for the fact that you have a soul, except for the fact that how do you get over it? You know, it's just we might kind of teeter off a little bit, but we're all gonna. I mean, that's where sociopaths or psychopaths. We're gonna find that safety in that middle ground. So yeah, my hope is that that the story is further told with Joss Whedon at the helm. That's it. And like I said, the only you know, because when you have a catastrophic spinal cord injury, it's, you know, life changes just a little bit, you know, but Joss really is the only person that because I'm fine. I mean, look at my fire, look at my land. I mean, luckily I don't need to work. I would be honored to work again for Joss, and that's pretty much it. Maybe Justin as well. So, but both have Joss in the title. So,
Carolyn Ives says, "I wish we could have seen Xander as a watcher. He'd have been great." And Jen Uveld said, "Xander with a limp and an eye patch, very pirate."
Fuck yeah! It's bushes. I talk like this, and you know, you might still, you know. It's just got to be. To me, with the Hulu one, it was just done very sneakily, clandestine, behind closed doors, and then boom. And that's just not. I think it's just that I really do want to see this, every pun intended, resurrected, but I want it resurrected the right way. And I kind of almost feel like, of all the actors on the show, maybe you can back me up on this, that just because I'm retired, that I'm really the only one that's just been honest about it. That, because like when you're an actor, you know, like you don't want to piss off, you know, like a writer or a producer.
You're always looking for the next job.
Because you gotta, yeah. And for me, it's like, I spoke the truth. And that, like, had Joss been involved in that project, I would have been all over it, and I would have loved it. And it's really a crime. And I had said plagiarism more than 20 times. Any writer that was involved in that project was committing an act of plagiarism. And I guess they were my words. So.
Jennifer Lynn says, "Whatever Joss's flaws are, he's amazing at his work. He has touched so many shows and movies, and they are better for it."
Right. So if anyone comes across anyone talking shit about Joss, I would implore you to bite back a little bit. Just, yeah, it's people who do that kind of shit, like tech bros and all that kind of stuff, you know, it's just, it's worse. They're actually perpetrating the crime in the moment by talking about a transgression that has happened in the past. But they're louder. So is it who's ever louder is the one that people will follow? Or do you just kind of just like follow? It's like, wow, people make fucking mistakes. And it's I have so much to fucking say about it. It's, to see one of them. I mean, Joss was my mentor in so many things in life. And to see how sad he was. Yeah, it broke my heart.
Celeste Kastler says it looks beautiful where you live.
It's nice, yeah. It's a little slice of heaven. It's got a river. And another bigger body of water and stuff. And I think I'm going to go. Because I was at, I was talking to Joss. I did the scene, the set, just the unfairness of it. And if you guys can find it somewhere in your heart to forgive him, even though he did nothing to you, it'd be doing a favor to me. Because it's just, I don't know why anybody would have seen him sad. And that's, Josh wasn't sad, he was devastated. So, this isn't a win with the showdown going on. Like I said, it just needs to be done right. And sorry that I got a bit maudlin and shit. And teary-eyed, I'm sorry, I'm on my period. But menopause is coming soon. Or menopause. Alright guys, I love you, I mean it. And I'm gonna be cooking soon, except my stove fucking broke because it's made out of fucking porcelain. Like the stovetop is made out of porcelain. So you can't drop a hammer on it.